Here's a survey I see on TikTok a lot that I actually kind of like. It pops up for lives and it says, how would you best describe this content? Select all that apply. Entertaining, useful, educational, relatable, other. There was like an earlier version of this on TikTok and I can't remember like what adjective they used, but it was something like they only gave you the option of like, did you feel like this video was useful? And I was like, oh, like that kind of sucks because what if it wasn't useful but it was entertaining? Like I like that they give all these options and I like that they have another. 3 areas of improvement in my opinion, TikTok, if you're listening. One of the rules for like really good survey design is that you're using language that is like very simple. It's like accessible to everyone. We always try to like write our surveys. They say like, so a 3rd grader would understand. It's like too complicated for me. Who knows what a 3rd grader can understand? Not me, a childless woman who's not around 3rd graders. So if you say like, you know, like if you were like chatting with a kid, like would they know this word? And honestly, I think the words like entertaining, relatable, even educational, like are kind of like advanced, more complicated words. I'm curious what other people think because I know I really err on the side of like trying to define things like to be super, super simplistic. I can almost envision like rewriting these as like a sentence where it's like, how would you best like describe this content? Like I learned something, you know what I mean? Like this felt like something I care about. This, you know, made me laugh. I don't know, maybe it'd be too much. Maybe I'm doing too much. I don't know. I'm curious what you think, but possibly like tweaking the language so that's a little more basic and simple. The other thing I dislike about this question is like it pops up based on like scrolling. So like a lot of times, like an instance for this, I didn't watch this live. It was like on my For You page, but I didn't watch it. So I don't actually know how to describe the content because I didn't watch it. So like figuring out how many like seconds someone should be staying on something before you give them this prompt, this question to ask, I think would be ideal. And 3rd is that like before you actually get to this question, TikTok asks you another question first. They ask, do you think this live is appropriate for TikTok? And you can say yes, no, or yes, but only for over 18s. It just makes me think like, what does it mean for something to be appropriate for TikTok? Like what wouldn't be appropriate for TikTok? You know, like it's almost to me like tackling 2 topics at once. Like one is, do I think the live makes sense for the platform in terms of appropriateness? However, I would decide that or define that. Versus is it appropriate for like people of a certain age? And to me, that's actually like 2 different things that could overlap, but I would ask about them separately and be more clear about what I actually want to know. And then like this, like when you look at that as the first question, to ask me to next describe the content feels like such a waste. Like if I told you I think it's not appropriate for TikTok, don't you want to know why I think it's not appropriate? Like, or if it was like not appropriate for children, like don't you want to know why I think that? Like what a weird way to use a follow-up question. It just seems like they're trying to get at like 2 completely different things at the same time right when I finish a video. And like I just don't love that. Like I'd love to either see like if you're asking about appropriateness, follow up and see why or why not something's appropriate, or if you're trying to like categorize, put content in buckets, like then ask about that. I guess like if you want to ask about both those things, like now you're taking up a lot of time in my scroll, but it just seems weird and like you're not leveraging either question to its like full potential of usefulness because you're trying to do too much at once. So then I'm like, what's the goal? Why do you ask these questions? And survey design always comes back to this, right? Like you have to know why you want the information to write a good question. And I'm just like really curious what TikTok's like hoping to learn and what they want to do with that data.